Have you ever known someone, or maybe followed someone online, who was a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, and they seem to be traveling all the time? And I'm not just talking a 1 or 2 day camping trip here and there. I'm talking about multiple weeks away from the office. And yet, these guys seem to get their work done. The business still grows. They still make incredible memories with their family. And they still go home as if no beat was skipped. No ball was dropped. They just jump right back in, and it's just seamless. If you're anything like me, sitting on the other side of that screen watching it, you almost want to throw your hands in the air and just go, how the heck is this guy doing this? He's still getting his stuff done. The business is still growing, and yet the guy's gone for weeks at a time. How is this possible? Now, especially if you're an entrepreneur, that can be a very almost irritating question. And I was there for a long period of time. I was in your exact position, watching other people live these lives of freedom and just sitting there wanting to tear my hair out because I couldn't figure out how I could make it possible for myself. So today I'm going to share with you what I have learned over 20 years of trying to mesh work and travel together. And I believe that I've finally found some major keys to making it a peaceful and yet memorable experience for my family from a vacation standpoint. So I will lay out right from the beginning that I am not very good at resting. I'm not very good at relaxing. I probably wouldn't be defined or described by many people as a chill guy. Part of that is probably personality. Probably part is just being male and having testosterone, where I tend to be very, on point. I tend to be very goal focused, goal oriented. I want to know what I'm accomplishing. I want to tackle the next thing. Like, that's just who I am. I love my work. And admittedly, I can be a bit of a workaholic if I'm not careful. I am someone who has to draw boundaries around my work, or I'll just work nonstop, even while traveling, and I'll miss all the fun stuff that I could experience while traveling. And I've been guilty of that in the past, but I'm learning that it doesn't have to be that way. But because I'm not very good at the chill stuff, I find that I have to find a way to mesh work and play together. I might be able to pull the plug for a day or two where I'm not looking at the planner. I put the laptop away. I don't have to go to the gym, and I don't have the alarms on. But after a couple days, I don't do too well. And when you're traveling halfway across the country, you want to do that for more than a couple days. A local camping trip might be fun. Maybe an overnight to the city might be fun to just unplug. But if I'm going to go somewhere that I want to be for an extended period of time, I've got to find a way to get my work done so I can feel like I've earned my playtime. And that's probably a big part of my psychology as well. Some people work and then they're able to shut it off and just go play, and they don't even think about work. I'm the opposite. I'm not that way at all. I'm obsessed with my work. I love my work. I believe it's the most important work that I could possibly give to the world. That's why I do what I do. But additionally, I've always found a great portion of my sense of self-worth in my work. When I don't work, I don't feel like I've earned my play. When I don't work, I feel worthless and I feel lazy. And I don't know if that's entirely healthy or not. It's probably something I could work on. But the reality is that when I'm away from my work for an extended period of time, I don't feel worthy of rest time. And also, when I unplug for a really long period of time and come back, I feel like I got to play catch up for a couple of weeks and I feel like I'm behind. And now the stress of getting home and trying to catch up is worse than it was before I left, and I wish I wouldn't have taken the trip to begin with. And that's never a fun place for anybody to be. You don't want to regret taking your family on some amazing trip somewhere and regret doing it because you had to unplug your laptop for a couple of days. And so I have had to take 20 years of figuring this out. Hopefully this will carve out or cut out some of that time for you, figuring out how to mesh your work and your travel together well. Now, if you got into entrepreneurship, you probably got into it for freedom. That's what most of us get into entrepreneurship for. I didn't just want time freedom where I didn't have to clock in 8 to 5. I also wanted location freedom so I could work anywhere. And in today's day and age with Zoom and Google Meet and all the other tools that exist, anyone can really work remotely. Anyone can work from anywhere. but that doesn't mean that people work and rest together in a peaceful way. So here goes. Here's what I'm going to tell you guys that I do on my vacations or my travel with my family to make sure we get the most out of it as a family, but also to make sure I keep up with my businesses and that I don't lose my mind in vacation mode. And the reason I actually wanted to share this is because for the past couple of days, I've said to my wife multiple times and a couple other people as well that this particular trip that I'm on to Florida right now has been my favorite trip here so far. And I come here, by the way, every single February with my family, bring my wife and kids down. We hang out with my brothers and their families. We hang out with my parents. And so we come down here every February. And admittedly, it has not always been incredibly peaceful. This has been by far the best trip and most enjoyable trip that I've had for multiple reasons. And I'm going to share this with you now. So the first thing I would recommend doing in trying to work well while traveling is create a bucket list with your family right up front. Look at where you're going and ask your kids, ask your wife, what are the things that you really want to experience on this trip? What are the things you want to eat? What are the things you want to do? What are the things you want to go see? Because that allows you to build a structure into your life. If you're an entrepreneur, you probably like structure at some level. It helps you keep your stuff together. It helps you keep your sanity, right? At least it does for me. And, when you plan that family bucket list, it gives you an idea of what is possible, and it allows you to give a bit of a framework for your life. You don't want to go all the way someplace awesome and go home without any memories. You don't want to go home and feel like you missed out and that one chance you had to go do that thing is no longer there for you. So plan a bucket list with your family. Write down the things that are important. You may not be able to get to all of them, but even if you get to the lion's share of them, it's going to make a big difference to you. You're going to feel a lot better about how you fathered when you were on that trip, and you can go home with a clear conscience and also having experienced some of that rest yourself. The second thing I would recommend is to build in unique work opportunities. When I'm working at the office at home, and I'm in North Texas, I'm with my studio and all my stuff, work can become a little mundane at times. You can begin to just settle into a rhythm, and while rhythms are great, being in the same rhythm for too long can start to feel like a bit of a rut, and that's no fun for anybody. And so what I would recommend doing is building in some unique opportunities. What if it were a conference that you go to? What about a mastermind you could attend? What about some sort of business networking event you could go to while you're on vacation? Something that is outside the realm of normal for you. For me, it goes a long way in making me feel like I'm doing something out of the ordinary while I'm traveling. I'm going and getting a dopamine hit of connecting with other entrepreneurs and doing something meaningful for my business. Additionally, if you build in things for your business on your trip, you're able to write those off as business expenses. Your travel is what I'm talking about. And so build in unique opportunities. Last weekend, I hosted an in-person mastermind for a group of men. So I had guys fly in from all over the country to talk life, business, marriage, money, relationships. We connected for 2 solid days. It was something that my business needed to do anyway. I host an in-person mastermind every single quarter that guys fly in for. So why not do it in a tropical place like South Florida in the middle of winter where everyone can leave their wintry homes and come out and spend some time on the beach together? It helped me rest with some of the men I was serving, helped me feel like I did something out of the ordinary and awesome with my business. And it also allowed me to write off a great portion of my travel expenses because I came here for a business trip. So plan in something that's unique for your work. And then third, I would choose your mindset musts. Now, this is something that's really important for me. I do not do well without some sort of ritual or structure to make me feel like I'm still accomplishing something on a daily basis. Even if I'm leaving and taking a day off with my family to go do something, I still keep my morning ritual in place. I'm still usually up at the same time, reading my Bible. I'm learning by reading my business books. I'm checking in on my team first thing in the morning. And even if I'm done by 9 a.m., I've had that time from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. where my stuff is done, my ritual is complete. Now I feel like I'm on top of my communications enough to where I can just shut off work mode and go play with my family. And I even do this at home. I have my morning ritual that I do 7 days a week, and it's the same thing every morning, even Saturdays and Sundays, to help me feel like I'm moving my life forward. Another big must for me is my exercise time. It's very rare even on vacation that I will not get some form of exercise in. And so plan in the musts for you so that you can enjoy it, right? This is not about making the trip all about you. If you're a father and you're wanting to take your family somewhere, you're going to have to sacrifice some of what you want and some of what would be comfortable for you or what would be best for your work. You've taken your family someplace, you need to do stuff that works for them. You need to do things that are going to be out of the ordinary, and you need to make awesome memories. But I also understand that if you're in a place of stress because you're not keeping up, if you're in a place of falling behind and feeling behind, you're never able to really let go and enjoy those times with your family anyway. And so I find that by having my morning ritual, having my gym time in place, having some of the regular things that I would have at home tend to keep me grounded, and they actually help me relax when it's time to do so with my family. Number 4 is carefully choose your environment. And this has perhaps been the biggest game changer for my family and I when it comes to enjoying our vacations together. Right now I'm in Florida, and the first few times we came to Florida, it was a little different. The first time we drove an RV down. Well, let me tell you, when you're used to having a separate office for your work, and you're used to having an open kitchen area where all the bedroom doors can be shut when you're up at 6 a.m. and the family's still sleeping, an RV is not the best place to be able to work effectively while also on a trip with your family. I don't get the quiet I need. It doesn't allow me the privacy I need to do things like this. It doesn't allow me to get up in the morning and handle my ritual without waking up the entire family. Our environment has been the most important thing that we have ever decided to address on our vacations down here to Florida. The next time we were down here, it wasn't just an RV. Well, we tried a hotel the next time. Well, a hotel doesn't have, especially when you're there for a couple of weeks, it doesn't have the luxuries of home. It doesn't have the consistent things that you need. So that didn't work too well. That caused a bit of strain and stress. Plus, in a hotel, you're up, everybody else is up with you. There's no separated space. The third time we came down here, we stayed with family. But you know how it is when I love my family, I love my brothers, but when you're stuck in tight quarters with people who are used to it being their space, and now you're bringing your energy into their space. Now it's two families in one home. You can make it work for a little bit, but you tend to start stepping on one another. And the energy of having your own place, your own domain, your own little kingdom of sorts is the way to go. So the way we've decided to do things is we always find an Airbnb now where we have not only bedrooms for each of the kids, I have a place where I'm going to work, and we also have a separated central kitchen area for our family where I can get up in the morning. I don't have to be super quiet. I can go about my morning ritual and get it done. And that is one of the biggest reasons that this has probably been the most peaceful, enjoyable trip to Florida that we have ever had as a family. And I may have mentioned it a couple minutes ago, but I've said multiple times this week to my wife as well as other people, this has been by far the trip that I have enjoyed most while coming down here. And I come down here every single year. And it's interesting that not only have I said that myself, but I believe each of my kids has also said that as well just today. This has been my favorite trip here. And I don't think it's just because they're having more fun than usual. I think it's because when I am at peace and when I have what I need, it allows them to relax and enjoy because my energy is much more peaceful to be around. So pay a lot of attention to your environment. It is the biggest key, in my opinion, to being able to rest well and work simultaneously. And then number 5, you're going to have to create some work limits for yourself. This is something that I still wrestle with, but you got to have a start time and an end time. If you just get caught in the endless work, you're never gonna take time off. You're never gonna go to the beach. You're never gonna bury a kid in sand. You're never gonna go to that restaurant. You're gonna get so caught up in your work that your family ends up vacationing without you, and you're really just at home working. Now, to be fair, there is a little bit of that. Like, I'm still the provider. My family today got to get up and go out the door, and they got to go to a swimming pool all afternoon and hang out. I would have loved to go to the swimming pool and hang out this afternoon. But the reality is the work still has to be done. And I'm here. I got to do it. And so if you're going to be providing, you're going to be working on the road. There is going to be some missing out. There is going to be some, you got to suck it up and be dad. You're going to have to send fam to go do some fun stuff on their own from time to time. But if you don't create boundaries around that, they'll experience all the travel without you. So set boundaries around your work. And then finally, you only live once. Make some memories, man. Like, I am pretty strict in my diet. I work with a nutritionist and a trainer who tells me what I can and can't eat. I normally don't touch sugar. I normally don't touch desserts. And this trip, the last couple days, I will tell you, I have carved out hard. I've had pasta with steak and shrimp on it the past 2 nights. Yesterday morning, I had hash and waffles. I had ice cream last night. I'm not completely fallen off the wagon entirely, but if you don't learn to live, your life is going to be nothing but work, and you're going to have nothing to look back on and enjoy. You're not going to have those memories that you really want to have with your family. So if you're someone that tends to be very structured, if you tend to stick to your patterns and routines, at some level you're going to have to learn to let go, and you're going to have to accept that you only live once. Vacation doesn't come around very often, and you look forward to these things for months on end, and then when they get here, you're so busy sticking to your regular routines. You're so busy sticking to your regular diet. You're so busy still obsessing over work while you're at vacation that you end up missing the trip entirely. And I think that has been one of the biggest dangers for me is when I'm on vacation, I'm thinking about work. When I'm at work, I'm thinking about vacation. I think that's probably a big theme for many of us is we tend to always be looking, the grass is always greener on the other side, no matter which side you go to. And so, if you don't take the time to create some limits, choose your environment to make it peaceful, build in some unique opportunities, and choose your musts, you're never going to enjoy this thing called entrepreneurship and time and location freedom. If you are someone who wants to have the freedom to take your family wherever you want to work while you're on the go, you still want to maintain your companies, you still want to experience business growth, you still want to be able to be an effective entrepreneur and leader while you're going, then you need to start incorporating some of these things. Number 1, make your family bucket list. Get clear on what you want to do. Number 2, build in some unique work opportunities. Not only will it allow you to feel accomplished and like you're doing something out of the norm for your business, it'll allow you to write off a big portion of your travel expenses with your family. Number 3, choose your mindset musts. Choose the things that are important to you to make sure that you are in the right mind space to be able to work and have high impact, but then be able to shut that off and go relax. Number 4, carefully choose that environment based on those musts. Choose an environment that allows you to live as close to a at-home pattern as you possibly can. One of the things that we did this time was my kids and my wife flew down to Florida. I drove. I got to get some work done, have a lot of calls, write a book while I was driving. I like the solitude of thinking, and I got to drive down here in a pickup truck. But additionally, we packed in a ton of different family stuff in that truck that I got to bring down. So they got to fly with no bags, and we brought our Vitamix and all of our supplements and everything else because we were here for 3 weeks. So if I can bring as much of home with me as possible, it's going to make my trip a lot more enjoyable. Next, create work limits for yourself. You got to create boundaries or you will exceed them every single time. And then finally, you only live once. Live a little. Make some killer memories. Eat a piece of cake. Have a little ice cream. Enjoy yourself. Take a little time off of work. Don't work a full day every single day. Take the time to enjoy it. Guys, if you are entrepreneurs, you did it for a reason. You want freedom. Make sure you actually get a chance to enjoy that freedom and that your family gets to enjoy it too. See you guys next week. Hope this blessed you. Share it with a friend. Comment below. See you soon.